What's up everyone, China Cycling here. One of the most common requests I get to make a video about is cycling shoes. People often ask me, are there any decent cycling shoes in China? And I guess that depends on your definition of decent. Now, eagle-eyed viewers of my previous videos will have noticed I'm usually seen riding with my Sidi carbon wires. Now, I'm usually pretty into Chinese branded products and the value you get from them, so for me to be riding Italian Sidis, one would assume the Chinese shoes must all suck, right? Well, I did love my Sidis, but after the truck ran over my foot a few months ago, the ambulance crew actually had to cut the left Sidi off of my foot. So that shoe is now up in shoe heaven. This one that you see right here is the right shoe that almost got run over by the truck. You can see where it just skimmed the side of the shoe here. Anyway, while I was licking my wounds and browsing for a new pair of shoes, Fizik emailed me and asked if I'd like to check out their new Tempo Overcurve R4 shoes. Perfect timing. And here they are. So, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that, but I think you'll agree, these are some good looking shoes. They also come in some iridescent colors, but I think the classic black and white goes well with any bike and any kit, so I just went for white. And if you're curious, I wear a size 39. Anyway, Fizik say they designed the shoe as a versatile all-rounder. And I'm not exactly sure what that means, but my interpretation is that these shoes aren't too high-tech racy, but also not too casual low-end. So, on my old Sidi carbon wires, they were pretty customizable. You could adjust the heel cup, there are separate dials for the top and the bottom of the shoe. You got the choice to cut the strap that goes across the top of the shoe to keep the thicker part in the middle. You have the option of cutting the tongue to make it fit your foot better. You can replace the heel pad by removing the little screw and replacing that part. And you even have the option of opening a little vent at the front bottom of the foot to choose how much cooling you want in the shoe. Now, in comparison, the Fizik Tempo Overcurve has none of this, which makes them a lot simpler and a bit more of a casual option. You don't ever feel over-equipped when going out for a cafe ride or a quick spin with your mates. The sole of the shoe is also a carbon-injected nylon, as opposed to an all-out carbon affair. This also contributes to the all-rounder aspect of the shoe, stiff enough that your foot doesn't feel like it's flapping around on the pedals, but soft enough that you're going to retain some comfort. Now, one previous critique of Fizik's shoes is that the cleat mounting points were too far forward. Now, this seems to be something they've addressed with this pair of shoes, and the cleat mounting position seems further back, like more in line with my Sidis. If I had to nitpick the Fiziks, and I do, because this is a review and not an advert, and that's why you guys come here, it's that when I first got the shoes, there was a tiny black mark on one of the shoes here. Now, these shoes have been shipped around the world from China to Italy and back to China again, but still, if I'm paying premium money for premium shoes, I'd like perfection. Now, the elephant in the room, the price. These shoes have an official retail price of 200 euros. And if you shop around, you can find them a little cheaper, but they're still not cheap. So, let's see what else you can get for your money if you shop Chinese or off-brand, and why I don't ride in Chinese shoes. So 2 years ago on my channel, I made a video about painting these shoes. Now, this pair of shoes started life as a pair of blue and white Diatzi, which fit pretty well and plenty light and stiff, but they were just 420 RMB, about 50 euros, so about a quarter of the price of a pair of Sidis or Fiziks. I think they looked alright after being painted, but obviously it's not to everyone's taste and not everyone has the time or energy to paint their shoes. Although, if you do want to see how I did it, you can check out that video from 2 years ago. Now, this pair of shoes is a bit weird. They're listed as extreme by Steve, Now, I'm not sure who Steve is. He sounds like a third cousin of Siri or Alexa. A bit of Googling reveals it actually to be a Spanish brand, but I couldn't find anything about these particular shoes. Anyway, they're made in China and the value is pretty good. You're getting a fully carbon sole with 2 adjusting dials, and they cost me about 500 RMB, so about 65 euros. Now finally, my favorite Chinese bike shoe is a brand called Tearball. I had a pair of Tiebao shoes as my very first cycling shoes, and they were great. They fit perfectly, they were stiff enough, they were well vented, and they held up well to 2 or 3 years of abuse. Now this is the exact pair I had, even in the same color. At the time I got them in China, they cost me about 200 RMB, which is just 25 euros or like 30 US dollars, but they're on Amazon now for 80 bucks. I definitely think they're worth $30, but $80? Yeah, not for me. The latest updated version of that shoe is also on Tearball for about 280 RMB, or about 35 euros. But I won't buy them for the same reason I won't buy any of the others, and that is, they're just ugly. Now, I know this sounds super vain and consumerist or hipster or whatever, but really, all of these Chinese shoes I've seen so far from Tiebao or Santic, they're just ugly. Now, okay, so Santic has some pretty good looking shoes, but the colors are usually pretty out there. Like, if I have a blue and orange bike, great. I would rock these shoes in an instant, but not if my bikes are blue and orange. I mean, how hard is it, guys? Just make a pure white or pure black shoe. Less is more. Simplicity. All that jazz. I feel like the Santic factory pays a designer to design them some color schemes, and the designer's like, well, I can't just make it all white, can I? Or they'll think I didn't earn my money. You know, best go get some crazy gradients and colors. No, just make an all-white shoe. Ugh. And so that's why I keep coming back to the traditional Italian brands. They just make a much better looking shoe. Now, if you can get over the looks, Tiebao and Santic are great. And I wish I could get over the looks. I wish I could say form doesn't matter, only the function matters. But I think looking good on the bike, or at least feeling like you look good on the bike, is definitely a part of the equation. Santic or Tiebao, if you're watching, just make an all-white shoe, please, and I'll be the first to buy it. But in the meantime, I'm going to be rocking these Fizik Tempo R4s, and I'm going to be loving it. Now, speaking of form versus function, it's pretty hard to measure the function or the performance of a shoe. But one thing we can do is throw them on the scales of truth. And the results are pretty surprising. So, first off, the Fiziks come in at 218 grams per shoe. Very respectable weight considering it's a plastic sole. Next up, we have the Extreme by Steve with a fully carbon sole, and look at that, 234 grams, even heavier than the Fiziks. Next up, my custom painted Dietzes, again with a plastic sole, just 216 grams per shoe, so pretty much the same as the Fiziks. And finally, the Sidi. With all its customizing and vents and screws, it's the fat boy at the buffet, coming in at a whopping 277 grams. I never actually realized just how heavy the Sidis were. As y'all know, I'm still off the bike with a broken leg, but definitely looking forward to getting back on the bike and trying these Fiziks out. Now, thank you very much to Fizik for sending me these shoes to check out. Don't think this is me selling out, as I've been riding Italian shoes on this channel for ages anyway. And yes, they're a lot more expensive than their Chinese counterparts. And yes, the Fiziks are even made in China. But they're just a beautiful looking shoe. And the Chinese brands seem to have a lot of catching up to do in that area still. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you like Chinese shoes? Are they ugly to everyone, or is it just me? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. And as always, China Cycling out.